This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
You're joking.
Well, let's get back to it.
But the police aren't going to give an update before the local elections in May. How long is this thing going to last for? Do you have forever? They're just going to instigate another investigation as soon as the last one is delivered, so that they can't talk about the issue because there's another investigation on. Temperatures are expected to soar again this weekend. A bit chilly today out. But temperatures are expected to soar again this weekend, with parts of the country enjoying sunshine warmer than Madrid, wherever that is. But before the glorious warm weather returns, showers will strike much of the nation tonight, amid warnings of snowfall and sub-zero temperatures to come. Snow?
Oh, no.
While there are rain showers predicted for the weekend, the temperature in the south will be relatively high, and London will be warmer than Madrid on Saturday. London can expect highs of 17 degrees centigrade on Saturday and Sunday, and 17 to get to Her Majesty's Imperial Fahrenheit. 17, you double 17 and add 32, so 2 times 17 is 54, and 54 plus 32 is 106. Wow! It's going to be 106 Fahrenheit this weekend. Can you believe that?
No.
Saturday and Sunday will see sunny spells and scattered showers in the east and the south. Breezy through the weekend. Breezy through the weekend. Rather warm in the south and the west, but colder by Monday. Don't ask me to say that again. It nearly killed me the first time. After which, after Monday, parts of Britain are bracing for sub-zero temperatures. Wow, well, I certainly hope that your parts remain unaffected. Temperatures are to drop to as low as 4°C in the south next week, and as cold as freezing in Scotland and across parts of northern England. Met Office forecaster Tom said some rural spots could even see lows of 3°C in overnight frosts during the first part of the week. Summer, not yet. Not yet. Saturday, the south are turning brighter and warmer, elsewhere feeling cooler, cloudier and breezier. For Sunday to Tuesday, variable amounts of cloud with spells of sunshine at times. Mostly dry. Mostly. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast?
No.
OK, then. This is till the first week of May. At first, dry, but then a few showers in the south and the east. What? What, not the north and the west? Showers in the southeast, not the northwest? I'm going to have to check on that. One moment, please. Aha. Uh-huh. Well, there's something wrong with my phone. This can't be right. Glasgow. Not raining tonight, not raining tomorrow, not raining on Sunday. Not raining on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Not raining next Saturday, not raining next Sunday, or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. That's 2 weeks without rain in Glasgow. Have you got anything to wear for when it's dry? Outlook for Sunday to Tuesday, variable amounts of cloud, spells of sunshine at times. Then to the first week of May. I've read that bit already. The south and the east, wet. The north and the west, dry. Isn't that incredible? I can't remember ever saying that. And it will continue to be dry through the rest of the north. Wait, what? Dry through the rest of next week in the north. Further south, unsettled with showers or longer spells of rain at times, heavy in places and breezy. Temperatures likely to be slightly below average. Well, that's rubbish. That's until the first week of May. So what about the middle 2 weeks of May? Here we go. It's got to get nice sometime. Good luck, everybody. During the middle 2 weeks of May, remaining generally settled with a good deal of fine conditions and temperatures most likely to be above normal. A good deal of fine conditions and temperatures most likely... Normal? We'll take it. I really need to do facial exercises. before I get on the air, because otherwise my mouth don't work. My brain is working, but my mouth don't work. Daryl says, I'll tell you this for free. If Marc Francois was Prime Minister, he wouldn't be ambushed by a cake. Good one, Daryl. If Marc Francois was Prime Minister, he wouldn't be ambushed by a cake. He was in the army, you know. He wasn't trained to get ambushed by patisseries. Matthew says, what is the dear leader doing in India anyway? Doesn't he know there's a war on? And he's therefore needed here. Well, we don't need him here. They don't really need him over there either. Did he do much dressing up? Not really. I bet he wanted to, but his handlers said...
No.
Yeah, I bet they did. I bet he wanted to, put on the full regalia. And they said...
Warning!
Yeah, don't do it, Bodge. It ain't worth it. Julian says, stop obsessing about Boris and listen to Van Halen, Joe Walsh and Dave Gilmore. The whole country is sounding like a traffic warden handing out a ticket to someone who's parked on a double yellow line for a few minutes. I thought you were a maverick. A maverick? What, a cowboy, you mean? Like James Garner? Is that what you're talking about? What are you talking about, Julian? All right, you want me to talk about Boris Johnson?
No.
Oh, all right then. I've got detailed files. First, I must take a couple of these calls because these people have been waiting since last week. Hull. Hello, Charles.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Charles.
Good to be on your show again. Do you know what? I can feel Marc Francois' army career through the airways.
Yes, I can smell his aura from here.
Absolutely, good Lord. It would appear, apparently, there are refugees. The British public are not unintelligent. They will see there are refugees.
No, I beg to differ there. I think the masses
really?
are asses. Have you met people?
No. Kind of.
Right. And your thoughts?
Well, I believe they know refugees, but they know other refugees.
They know refugees, but they know other refugees.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what are you talking about?
Okay, well, you've got Ukrainian refugees, and 100,000 families want Ukrainian refugees.
Yes, which surprised the government more than a little. To the extent that they weren't remotely prepared for this. And I bet that they're dragging their heels because they think that all of the people that said, we'll welcome them in, they can come and stay with me, they are, I would imagine, and I don't know that this is the truth, but from everything I know about this regime, I would imagine they are thinking, yeah, but those people don't really mean that. That's an instinctual reaction. That's just like a human opening of their hearts. And those hearts will close pretty quick, Sticks, once they realise that actual real-life human beings are going to be coming and staying with them. So if we just drag our heels and take as long as possible, then all of those people will have changed their minds. And then we can go back to, pushing them back out to sea and letting them drown. Metaphorically speaking.
Precisely. Priti Patel, why was she missing in action regarding 56,000 visas? Because she was working on her pet project about the Calais refugees.
Right. Yeah.
And,
she was busy being her worst possible self.
Well, she's Priti Patel. The boat people, they come across the worst. I mean, the English Channel is the worst. There's freighters going by. Yeah. There's so many ships going by. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, yes. There should be fewer ships. I mean, for a lack of, for less ridicule, fewer ships. That just makes sense.
Yeah. And then they come across here and we send them to Rwanda, you know, I mean, the government said, you know, a year ago, the government said Rwanda was, quote unquote, full of widespread torture by the authorities and corruption.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
It wasn't a year ago. It was like 6 months ago. A year ago, they said, please investigate. They said, this is in January 21. They said to the Rwandan government, please investigate extrajudicial killings, deaths in custody, enforced disappearances and torture. They asked them to do that in January. And then in July last year, they said, we regret that Rwanda did not support our recommendation to conduct an investigation into extrajudicial killings, deaths in custody, enforced disappearances and torture. You know, but apart from the killings and the torture, it's a very, very safe place to be.
And the Prime Minister is on record as saying everything's wonderful.
Yeah. Safest place in the world. And I hope that you are satisfied with that answer, Charles.
Well, I would like to say one thing. So does this mean, you know, the asylum seekers around Calais, and they are attacking, the government is attacking the organised crime gangsters. Yep. But hang on a minute. Does that mean that the asylum seekers are mere pawns in Boris Johnson's game?
The way to remove the business model of the people traffickers is to just provide a legal way for people who are mostly granted asylum anyway. So something of the order of 80% of those that apply are granted because their cases are deserving. So almost all of the people that come here by illegal methods should have been brought here by legal methods, but the government has cutely removed all legal ways of getting here and then insisted that you can only arrive here legally, otherwise we'll send you 4,000 miles away to a place that you've probably never even heard of, let alone could point to on a map. Yeah, but apart from that, they're being as kind as they can possibly be. It's world-leading kindness, Charles. Get with the programme. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973, tweet at LBC, text 84850.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm super. Thanks for asking. 0345 6060 973. Oliver texts, the news is so confusing nowadays. Whenever they say number 10, it's hard to tell whether they mean the building or the number of fixed penalty notices that Bodger has now received. Jane says, and by the way,
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
He followed the ministerial guidance at all times. Jane says, I can confirm we are not having any rain in the Pennines, but my garden needs it. I'm using all my stored water from the water butts.
Disgusting.
I wish they were called something else. Ian tweets, Boris hit the dressing up box. Well, yeah, I bet he did. He did a little bit, yeah. Not much. I bet he wanted to, but they wouldn't let him. But he did stride up one of those custard colossi, the JCBs. He is so very keen to advertise JCBs, isn't he? Every opportunity he gets, he clambers aboard one for his official photographer to snap a couple of thousand pics. Why would that be? Curious. He's just a fan, I suppose. Unfortunately, in India, those very same diggers had been used to displace some innocent people from their homes like the previous day, so the locals are quite upset about that, but, never mind. It's another Bodger success. Onwards and upwards, eh, Bodge? Mike, there's quite a few people over, back home in Blighty who want to pose you a couple of questions. I bet he touches down and then the plane takes off immediately and he's off to somewhere else. Mike texts, I see they finally found a job that Smug is capable of. Wandering around putting post-it notes on civil servants' desks. An absolutely incredible use of time and taxpayers' money. It's another Brexit bonus, smug.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Roger says, Bodge is probably in India learning to make a chapati so he can make it as a chef when he gets the push. Worst chef ever. Would you eat in this man's restaurant?
No.
And furthermore...
No.
No, not once you got a couple of eyes on the chef. Not a chance. Keep the kitchen door closed. Paul tweets, the most dangerous cake to be ambushed by is a rock cake. Boris Johnson insisted today that he would still be Prime Minister in October as he bravely ran away to try and find a country where people actually believe anything he says. A press conference in New Delhi found that he should have focused on his hopes for a new trade deal, as they were going to be overshadowed by a crisis unfolding 4,000 miles away in Britain. The Prime Minister tried to see off questions about his future in Number 10, suggesting that reporters had already had enough of a go at him about it yesterday. You've asked me a question about my charging criminality, and that'll be the end of it, please. We had a pretty good kick of the cat yesterday, he said. Not that I'm in favour of kicking cats for the avoidance of all doubt, he said. And if Bodger says that he doesn't do it, you can be pretty confident putting a large amount of money on him actually doing that very thing. Boris Johnson, cat kicker. You can add that to his list of crimes. I bet he deployed that old trick where he says that the British public are not interested in what the British public are interested in, and that we are really interested in what he wants us to be interested in. And I bet I'm completely correct in every respect. When it was pointed out that the UK public was interested in this issue, he said, I think that what the people want in our country is for the government to get on and focus on the issues on which we were elected, and that is what we're going to do. He said, I think they'll be particularly interested in jobs, growth in the UK, a memorandum of understanding, for instance, today on wind power, gigantic ambitions for more and more wind energy, both of us, not just offshore wind, but floating platforms. He's just filling the air with noise like Zaphod.
And 1, 2,
yes,
11.
No. It doesn't really matter. Just say a lot of numbers and a lot of things. Just don't leave any gaps so that anyone can insert a question. All you need to do is make a noise, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Exactly. Did any of that make sense? I think they'll be particularly interested in jobs, growth in the UK, a memorandum of understanding, for instance, today on wind power, gigantic ambitions for more and more wind energy, both of us, not just offshore wind, but floating platforms. Yeah, he knows a lot about wind.
I know a lot about wind.
But not as much as he knows about wind. He used the appearance to repeat his hopes of having an Indian free trade deal done by October, and asked whether he would still be Prime Minister when it was signed. He said yes. So we can count both of those things out, Bodge?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah. It's always opposite day over at Boris Johnson's place. Whatever he says, just think that the opposite is true and you won't go far wrong. A free trade deal with India. Did you know that our trade with India decreased by 3% in the 2 years before the pandemic? Decreased by 3%. Did you know that France's trade with India in the 2 years before the pandemic increased by 58%? Ours went down by 3%. France's went up by 58%. So being in the EU hasn't actually held the French back much. Just saying. But Bodge had to run away and, India is far enough off, so off he went, trailing his mess behind him, trying to make it all go away. How's that going?
Oh, fabulous.
The Prime Minister last night bowed to a revolt in the Commons yesterday and dropped his attempt to delay yet another investigation into the lockdown law-breaking crisis. You're not interested in any of the things that you're interested in, he said to the general public and his backbench MPs, and their response was, oh, yes, we are. The Committee of Privileges. Doesn't that sound like something out of Harry Potter? What a ridiculous system we've got. The Committee of Privileges will consider whether the Prime Minister knowingly misled the House over lockdown-busting gatherings. Oh, they're going to consider that, are they? Shall we short track to the end where they say...
No.
No. No, he didn't. Nothing to see here. Please move along. It's got a Tory majority on the Committee of Privileges, by the way, although Smug did make a big song and a dance about saying that it's got a Labour chairman who has done the decent thing and recused himself because of his previously expressed thoughts on the dear leader. But Smug didn't mention that bit. He just pushed his spectacles up his hooter and said something in the order, well, it's, you know... and then he floated off like a spectre. If this Committee of Privileges finds Bodger in contempt of Parliament, it could recommend that he's forced to apologise. Wow, really? So powerful. And if more is required than an apology, then they may chastise him. And if even a chastisement is not enough, they may upbraid him. That'll teach him. They should bend him over a desk like they used to do at Eton. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Well, they're not going to expel him, are they? I mean, they could, technically, but they're not going to do that. And they won't suspend him either, so he'll be forced to perform another pretend apology. You know.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I am sorry.
And he'll just repeat it like an automaton.
Affirmative.
And he won't mean any of it. And you can tell he doesn't mean any of it because of his attitude when he's quizzed on it. Bodger was forced to climb down after half a dozen ministerial aides indicated that they were prepared to resign to support the Labour plan for a fresh inquiry. Holy macaroni, another bloomin' inquiry. And the report is due not to report back until a separate police probe is completed, most likely in the autumn, and they can't talk about that, politicians and Bodger, because the Sue Gray report hasn't been published, and they won't be able to talk about the Sue Gray report because there's this other investigation by the Privileges Committee, which means that they won't be able to talk about any of it until the last report is released, which will be, let's see now, never. Precisely never. Shall we pencil in never? But there's pictures. Flash bang wallop, what a picture, what a photograph. Bombshell snaps of the PM attending parties in Downing Street, including with drinks in his hand. And they could be made public. And he'll just bat them away and say that he did not know they were drinks in his hand, because he was concentrating on what his other hand was doing, which was helping the country, which is right and proper, and it's what the public want him to do. Or something of that order. There'll be some excuse. I'm bipolar. My right brain doesn't know what my left hand is doing. What an absolute shower, eh? What a way to run a country.
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC. I should tell you, by the way, that this show gets stuck up the internet as a podcast almost the moment it's finished. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to, which means that you'll use less electricity, and when your fuel bill comes in next winter, you'll still have to set fire to your shoes to keep your feet warm. You're welcome. It's called Nick Abbot, the whole show. It's available on an internet near you. Look at the time, it's 10:30. The news headlines are with Serena Farrow.
Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Archie texts there must be another party on the cards because they sent Johnson to India to score. He's going to come back sorted for ease and whiz. He'll sort you out, Michael. Don't you worry about a thing. Mike says, I see they've finally found a job that's... no, read that one. Way ahead of schedule already. I'm doing an excellent job. Roger says, Bodge is probably in India learning to make... no, done that one too. Paul says the most dangerous... No, and that one. Well, see, what put me off was that there was a new one inserted into the middle of the old ones. It was like that when I got there. So, afresh, Sam says, are there any other world leaders who constantly play dress-up, or is it just Bodger? Yeah, I think it's Bodger and Charles. Although Charles doesn't dress up very much, but if they've got, like a ring of flowers, they'll put one of them on. But that's about it. Hey, Chaz. That's, West Midlands, Ranjit.
Hiya, mate. You okay?
Yes, good, thanks.
Yeah, he's Bodgeness. I think we should give him another name. We should call him Bodget.
Yes.
Because he bodges everything up. Right, his trip to India, Nick, you and I, over the last couple of years, I've said this many a times, yeah, that is going to be his rabbit out of the hat in India.
India?
Right?
What in India is going to be his rabbit out of the hat?
Because all those rich business people that have been looking to invest in this country, for years and years, have been trying very hard to take over the National Health Service.
Oh.
They've already overtaken Tata, and I'm from Indian background. Yeah, okay. It's going to be called inward investment.
Yeah, it is called inward investment. Yeah,
inward investment.
Inward investment is when foreigners buy all of our stuff. That's what they call inward investment.
Yeah, and then he went to the Gujarat. Yeah, that's where Modi's from. That's where Priti Patel's ancestors come from. So all the rich business people are generally around there. Okay, he's been planning this for about 2 years, but he couldn't go before because he was going to get a lot of opposition from the people from the Punjab because of the farmers' protests there. Nick, you've got people in India who have to pay Swiss banks money to keep their money in their banks. They've got that much money that they don't know what to do with. They've got
back up. They have to pay a bank to keep their money in that bank?
Yes.
Who does that?
No. They've got that much, money which is unaccounted for. Yeah?
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So what they want to do is they want to launder their money through Britain, okay? Mm-hmm. And there's somebody that's bought a big country estate near Slough called Stoke Park.
Oh, yeah, okay. If you want to get into specifics, Ranjit, then do it on another show. 0345 6060 973. Sam says, DC tweets, a fridge the size of India. If Bodger breathes in a bit, that leaves room for a cheddar truckle. Well, that's just rude. But you have got a point. Josie says, hell's bells. Did somebody put a WC on Bojo's head, or has he had trepanning procedure that was the amount of bandaging needed? Sitting in a bed, eating the last Easter egg. Well, someone's got to, Josie. Glasgow. Hello, Robert.
Hello?
Yes, Robert.
Oh, hi, Nick. I didn't know you called me unawares there. I was listening to your rant. You just called me. Nice to speak to you. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Do you want me to put you on hold?
No.
Okay, then.
So it's on Boris Johnson. I've been in hospital for the past couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to get through. But the shenanigans that's going on just now, it's just a repeat. It's just I can't remember what happened. The last time he went abroad, he opened the door for coronavirus from India, if I remember well. And I've just seen him tonight on the TV giving an interview on mute. And I don't know what he's done to his hair. It looks as though someone's taken a strimmer to it.
So you watched him doing an interview, but you didn't have the sound up?
No, why should I have the sound up? Well, I mean, No, I mean, the man's going to lie. He's going to repeat the same mantra every time he's on TV.
So while you weren't listening to what he was saying, you had a lot of time to concentrate on his hair.
I couldn't do anything else to concentrate on. I mean, it was an absolute disaster. So was he.
I'd like to see him being interviewed by Michael Fabricant. In fact, I'd like to see both of their hairs going at it.
Who's Michael Fabricant? Oh, that's the guy. Right? Yeah. I've got you now. Yeah. Well, I don't think.
There's another one who's best viewed on mute.
Yeah, definitely. But all in well, it's good. Oh, question for you.
Yeah.
A question for you. Just told a total side issue, and you've got to be honest with me here. Yes.
Well. I don't know. I'll be as honest as Boris Johnson would be under the same circumstances. Go ahead.
Oh, dear, that means you're going to tell me a fib. Or you're going to fabricate some story. Yeah. Did Steve Allen, Steve Allen's denied it. I've been in contact with Steve Allen, of course, by text. Steve doesn't take calls, as you're well aware. Yeah. He vehemently, and we're going back now, he vehemently says he left you plenty, his words, not mine, plenty of Christmas treats. The words were plenty, in 2 plastic bags.
Right. What, for me personally?
Yes.
Well, I think that he's telling you an untruth.
Okay, Nick, it was nice speaking to you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Robert. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. But in his defence, Steve Allen did leave a vast amount of sugary treats for the workers here, just not for me personally. He just sort of laid them out. I mean, they were a heart attack in the making. There was practically like a pile of sugary poison that he left us. I mean, was there a single thing that Steve Allen left us?
He does do the Satsumas.
That's him too, is it?
Yeah, I think
Satsuma.
so.
Okay, all right, that's fruit. You get a pass, Steve. 0345 6060 973. Nathan says, our government actually creates a market for people traffickers by making travelling to the UK to claim asylum complex and difficult. Well, impossible, actually, to do it legally. They prevented them from coming here legally and then insisted that everybody arrive here legally. Catch-22. Perfect. And so anybody that wants to come here must travel here illegally because there is no legal way of doing it. Almost impossible, they've made it. Not by accident, on purpose. And keep in mind that what the figure for those who apply for asylum and actually get granted it because their cases are proved to have merit, it's about 80%, 80%, almost all of them. 8 out of 10. And whether the 2 out of 10 aren't refused because, they're terrorists or anything like that. Presumably they just didn't have their papers in order. Or they are considered not to, for whatever reason, don't really matter. 80% of those that get here are found to be legal, decent, honest and true, to be worth and worthwhile giving them asylum, and that it is merited in their case. Yet they had to get here by paying some people trafficker a boatload of money to sit in one of their leaky vessels, specifically because the government has made it so difficult to get here. And it's not just because they're evil. I mean, some of them may actually be evil. They may be the very embodiment of evil, but they're doing it because that's what they think their fans want. Susan says, have you seen Nadine Dorris' TikTok where she explains what her job is? No. Is that a real thing?
Yeah, so she says that rather than saying downloading movies from the internet, she calls it downstreaming.
Right.
She sort of doesn't really look on top of her brief.
Don't drink the water from downstream.
Disgusting.
You've got no idea what's upstream, Nadine. Downstreaming. Anyway, Susan says, have you seen Nadine Dorris' TikTok where she explains what her job is? Apparently she wants to create the safest internet in the UK. She didn't say that. She didn't say that, did she?
Yeah.
The safest internet in the UK.
She says the safest internet in the UK will be the safest internet in the world, or something a bit strange.
Right. So, of all the other internets that are available in the UK, she wants to create the safest one of all of the ones that are available. She says a place where you can downstream your movies. Poor thing, I don't think she knows how the internet works, says Susan. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. You can tickety tick-tock talk. That just seems like a giant waste of time to me. I mean, I've never actually looked at the site, but I know what, kind of have an idea what it is. It's just kids lip-syncing to pop songs, isn't it? And Nadine Dorris explaining the internet to us. How does it go again? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
John texts, with the UK embassy reopening in Kyiv, will the Ukrainian people be able to apply for a UK visa there? Well, it's complicated, John, because they will have to come to this country to pick up a form that they will then have to fill out and get stamped in Ukraine. And then they'll be allowed to come here. From where they'll be picked up and sent to Rwanda, or maybe space. They'll have to get the form signed off by a member of the International Space Station. It's as easy as that. Let's have Brighton. Hello, John.
Hello, Nick.
John.
Yeah, I mean, you've created a picture in our minds, a terrible picture of Boris Johnson and Fabricant doing battle and jousting with their hairdos.
Yes. Who wore it worst?
Yeah. I mean, I have to also say, Fabricant's hair is more weird than Johnson's, I think.
It's the weirdest hair I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and
it's very odd.
By that, I also include you know who.
Don't be rude.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, on a level with his hairdo. Yeah. Again, Nick, about Boris. I mean, poor old Boris. I mean, you're having a go at Boris, but he's getting on with the job, and this Partygate is all a bit of fluff, and we're going to get a massive trade deal with India.
I don't know whether you're being sarcastic now. Is this you being sarcastic?
I'm being serious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, not really.
Not 100% serious, no.
Yeah.
Right. He's getting on with the job. It's just that we'd have absolutely no idea what the job is that he is getting on with. What job is he getting on with? Is he taken over from Judith Chalmers? Is he our traveller-in-chief now? All right. Thanks a lot, John. Jim says Nadine Dorris also called tennis courts pitches. She didn't, did she?
Yeah.
Pitches?
Yeah, she said football pitches, and then she said, and tennis pitches.
Tennis pitches. Well, yes, you play tennis on a pitch with a tennis club. Who doesn't know that? Hey, Michael Fabricant, by the way.
You don't need to put all of that product in your hair. You just don't.
You just don't. It looks like glue. What is it that you're dressing that, whatever that is, with? Last time I saw a picture of him, it looked like, well, I've said this on this show before, but it looked like somebody had upturned a plate of pasta over his head. It did look like he was wearing pasta as headwear. Sean tweets, "It is high time that Johnson, this serial liar, was taken outside and made to apologise to the UK on a live stage with a single microphone for company. I doubt that he'd get a round of applause." Well, he would in his mind. I'm sure everyone's cheering in his mind. So there's 3 pictures, apparently. No, there's more. There's 300 pictures. There's pictures and pictures and pictures. Bombshell photographs of the PM attending parties in Downing Street, apparently, with drinks in his hand.
Booze.
Exactly. And out trotted the well-prepared and briefed friends of his imperial boginus to defend the indefensible PM. I wonder if they die a little inside when their number is up and they've got to go around the TV studios and the radio studios and defend the indefensible bodge. I wonder if they just take a deep breath in and go, okay, just one more time. I'll just get through this and this will be the last time. You know, like trying to give up heroin or something. I'll just do it one more time. Northern Ireland Minister Conor Burns said if the Prime Minister stepped off Westminster Bridge and walked on top of the water, they would say he couldn't swim. Yeah, great analogy there, Northern Ireland Minister Conor Burns, because the historical figure that Bodge mostly resembles is that famous water walker, Jesus. Meanwhile, Johnson, who ran away 4,000 miles from Westminster to India, repeated his pleas for critics to move on and let him deal with the issues that he says are more important to the British public, like which billionaire's mansion he's going to set up in for his summer holidays, and who should he get to pay for it, and whether they'll want a seat in the House of Lords for their trouble. You know, the important stuff. What an absolute shower. And then up steps Brexit hard man Steve Baker. You remember Brexit hard man Steve Baker, don't you? Bill! Yeah, that's him. And he stuck his oar in. I'll come to that in a minute. What a collection. What a collection. St Helens. Hello, Val.
Hello, love.
Val.
What, love?
Hey, Val, we got an echo on the line. An echo on the line. An echo on the line.
I've turned the telly down.
Oh, is it the telly?
Yeah, I've turned it right down now.
Well, let's see. No, we've still got an echo on the line. I'll tell you what, Val, because this is scrambling my brain.
Are you having problems, Chick, with your brain?
Yeah, with my brain. And the line.
I think you must have, actually.
Yeah, Val will call you back, okay? I don't know. My gut instinct saying... Warning! just the tone of her voice right at the end there. But I'll tell you what, Val, will call you back anyway, even though every fibre of my being is telling me not to. I'll wait. Any luck?
I'm just calling her now.
Just calling her now. Everybody. Val.
What, baby?
Oh, that's much better. I'm getting no echo.
Okay. I like Boris Johnson.
Why is that?
He's seen us through Brexit,
not yet.
coronavirus.
Not yet. He hasn't. He hasn't seen us through Brexit or the coronavirus. Coronavirus is still a thing. There's about 200 people dying every day. That's the amount of people on a commercial airliner smashing into the ground every single day. And as for Brexit, yeah, really. And as for Brexit, that'll never get done. He's still renegotiating the super oven-ready deal that he lied about that he had before we voted to leave the European Union.
Well, do you not think he's doing well over the war?
Do I think he's doing well over the war? What, ignoring the part where he accepted millions of pounds from people close to the Putin regime? Apart from that bit, you mean? Where it seemed that the Conservative Party was a wholly owned offshoot of the Kremlin. Apart from leaving it so long to apply sanctions to billionaires that they could have moved their money from this jurisdiction to a place that we could never get to 1,000,000 times over before the sanctions came down. Like that, you mean?
I haven't got a clue, Chuck. I'll say I'm 75, a widow.
75? Yeah.
Yeah, and I quite liked him.
But, Val, you've just said that you don't know anything about it.
Well, I haven't got a... Well, I listened to the news and things, and I liked him, and it sounded like he...
Why do you like him? Because he's the funny chap off the telly?
I mean,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah. But you've already said that you didn't know anything about his reaction to the war or anything about his failure over Brexit or anything about, what was that? I can't remember what the third one is now. But you say that you've admitted that you don't know anything about any of those things, but you still like him based on what?
Well, I think it's political. I just think... No, I do.
You think he's political? What does that mean?
That means the Labour Party want him out.
Well, many of his own ministers on the Tory benches want him out.
Do they?
75% or 80% of the British public want him out.
I don't.
Does that disprove anything that I've just said?
No.
Right, well, we found one, Bodge. She's in St Helens, if you're interested. Thanks a lot, Val. You're making a lot of sense. Sean tweets, it's high, and there it is in a nutshell. I don't know anything about it, but that hasn't prevented me from having a strong opinion. You voted for him once, and regardless of every single tiny little thing that he has done, which is against your interests, all of it, you're still going to vote for him because, he's doing his best. That's the act that's worked for him his entire life. People just instinctively want to mother him. It's the hair and the untucked shirt and that whole, I can't take care of myself routine. And it makes a certain type of person think, leave him alone. You just want to mother him, which might be charming if he's 5, but he's not 5 anymore. He's 50-something. He's a grown-up. He can tuck his own shirt in. He can tie his own shoes. It's just that his act dictates that he doesn't in order to appeal to people that have a mothering instinct, like that nice lady I was just talking to. The leave him alone, he's doing his best brigade. Well, I'll tell you what, if this is him doing his best, then we're all in more trouble than I thought. Is this you doing your best, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Let's hope not. Otherwise, we're screwed. D tweets he's off to Rwanda next. Well, I wouldn't be remotely surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he just ran into the nearest forest and holed up in a tent till it all blew over. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello, boys. And I can't stand him.
0345 6060 973. Pete texts, most Indian people were shocked that Mr. Bean had put on so much weight and dyed his hair blonde, but they still found him hilarious. He is funny, no?
No.
No. That joke's not funny anymore. Mark texts, now he's back from India, I think Bodger needs to be questioned about Japartis. Japartis at number 10. Stop with the jokes, people. Chris texts, someone on Steve Allen's show messaged to say that electric cars may have legislation brought in so that they would make the noise of a combustion engine. I think that, thanks to you, finally, Bodger has a perfect future job and use for the country. I may get that as my phone bell. What do you call it? My phone. What would you call that?
Ringtone
is the right answer. My ringtone. Yeah, I know that. Ringtone. Who wants this as their ringtone? Yeah, I think I'd like that. Paul texts, every morning Bodger is ambushed by a cake by looking in the mirror and seeing an eaten mess. Oh, that's terrible, Paul. Hang your head in shame. That is awful. Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Great, mate.
Good. Are you fit for the marathon?
What, watching it, you mean?
No, Swalbrook was saying that you're doing 17 days straight.
Oh, 17? Says who?
Swalbrook said you're going to fill in for 2 weeks, and that will include 3 weekends, won't it?
What, first I've heard. Nobody's told me.
He said he's off on holiday, and Nick Abbott's going to fill in for him.
I'm filling in next week, but I don't know about the week after. Nobody said anything to me.
Oh, he said 2 weeks. So, well, at least we got you for 10 days anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying about Johnson and JCBs.
Yes.
Advertising them.
Well, it seems to be. Every time he gets near one, he seems to climb onto it for a photograph.
Well, it might interest you that since 2007, Bamford, who owns JCB for Bamford, has donated 10.9 million to the Tory party.
Yeah, and 10.9 million calories to Boris Johnson personally. Because his lunch was being provided by Bamford's wife's butler or something. I mean, that sounds like peak Tory, doesn't it? Someone's butler biked round an organic food package on a daily basis so that Bodger didn't have to go out and, spend his own money. Peak Bodger, that is.
There has to be a smell of Owen Paterson about that, really, that he's doing so much advertising for a company that's a big donor to the Tory party.
Yeah.
It's a bit off. It's a bit off.
Well, yeah, it's just that he keeps bumping into them. I'm sure it's a complete coincidence that he just keeps, doing press meetings in front of one of those machines. Coincidental.
Other than that, I was going to ask you of your opinion about Archbishop Baker, but apparently you're going to cover that in a minute anyway.
Oh, Steve Baker.
Yeah. But and the other thing was that it occurred to me, there was a leak from number 10 that Johnson is going to Rwanda when the next fine hits.
Right.
And I just had an image of him in my head. He lands in Rwanda, put him up on a podium with a mic, and he says, "Great to be in Rwanda here, absolutely fantastic. All the pickaninnies with the watermelon smiles looking at me. It's brilliant." Mm-hmm. And then the machete hits him.
Right. Well, I double dare you to do that, Bodge. He should be forced to read out his old columns. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Mike texts, don't you find it worrying that the police are withholding info regarding any further fines until after the local elections? Surely this is a political decision. I don't know how this has gone unchallenged. Well, it sounds pretty political to me. Why are the police withholding information regarding any further fines until after the local elections? What have the local elections got to do with the police's inquiry? How bizarre. Now, are we to glean from that what the police have found and the information that they are withholding would be not instrumental to his Bodger's future? I think that's not quite the right sentence, is it? But, I'm just making this stuff up as I go along. That is a bit weird. I mean, when else would the police not give out information regarding their inquiries because it might impact on someone's ability to cling on to their job? It wouldn't surely have any it wouldn't be part of their thinking, would it? How weird. Janie texts, Steve Baker should run for PM, says Janie. No, Janie. And furthermore... No. Yeah, it's a no from me. But you remember Brexit hard man Steve Baker? Yes, that's him. Well, Brexit hard man Steve Baker, who was instrumental in pulling us out of Europe and subsequently said that Brexit was a fiasco, has had a change of mind about Bodger. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Yeah. Changes his mind depending on the direction of the wind. Brexit hard man Steve Baker, who earlier this week backed the Bodge to continue, now tells him that the gig is up and said that it was up to cabinet ministers to tell the PM it's over. So earlier this week, he was all for the bodge, and now he's not. Earlier on, he was all for Brexit, and now it's a fiasco. Unfortunately, cabinet ministers are about as useful as a nodding dog, so they won't tell the PM it's over. Northern Ireland Minister Conor Burns said if the Prime Minister stepped off Westminster Bridge and walked on top of the water, they would say he couldn't swim. That's a fact, he said. It's a fact. Nobody would say if Boris Johnson stepped off a bridge and walked on water, not one single person would say that he couldn't swim. We'd be too busy being stunned that he can walk on water. What an idiotic thing to say. And then he said, that's a fact. He said something truly idiotic and then followed it with, that's a fact. If he just left the idiotic thing there, then people might have been, quietly amused. Oh, he doesn't mean it. But then putting that as a fact on the end of it just makes it just ludicrous. You're a ludicrous person, Mr. Burns. However, Mr. Burns said today that there is no question of Boris Johnson standing down over the Partygate row. And you know what? I believe him. I believe that there is no question of Boris Johnson standing down over the Partygate row. Because that would mean that Bodge would be doing the decent thing. And he would accept that he is not being delivered by a higher power to be our ruler. He would have to accept that he is not a good leader, and that we see through the clown act to the beating heart of darkness within. So no chance will he stand down. They'll have to sling him out. Or the British public will at the next general election, unless they get distracted by a dinghy. 0345 6060 973. Mike says, do you really get paid for this? No, I pay them to be here. It's like I rent the space. Greenford, hello, Paul.
Hello.
Paul.
Hello.
Paul.
Yeah, I think when these photos come out, it's going to be the nail in the coffin, because then they're going to actually see evidence.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Good thought there, Paul. Thanks, mate. 0345 6060 973. Evidence, Bodge. What more evidence do you need? People don't need any more evidence. We've made our minds up. Something of the order of 75 to 80% of the British public think that Boris Johnson should go if he gets another fine. Well, he's going to get another fine. And why if he gets another fine? I mean, presumably that was the question that they were asked. Now, would it be a different response if the question was, do you think that he should go now, having already received a fine? I mean, why would you draw the distinction between one fine and two? Because it's the same thing. It's the same, lack of concern that the rules have got anything to do with him, which is not an isolated incident. He's been like that his entire life. We know who he was before we let him in. In fact, the reason that we let him in was because we knew who he was. He was the Chancer that got away with it. He was the Just William character, with his squiffy hair and his untuckedness and his paw, all of that racket. We knew full well who he was before we let him in. I mean, how many times has he been fired for lying? There was no excuses not to know what was coming. We knew what was coming. But we got distracted by dinghies, and we were persuaded that, there were rainbows and unicorns just around the corner. All we had to do was leave the evil European socialist superstate. No! And then everything would be wonderful. Yeah, how's it going, by the way?
Fabulous.
Yeah, so far, not much. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Cornwall. Malcolm.
Nick, how are you, sir? All right?
Very well, thanks.
Nick, fantastic news. The last caller spoke of Boris Johnson advertising a British product in India. He wasn't, Nick. What he was doing was he was advertising a Brexit benefit. He was advertising a JCB factory in Gujarat, or whatever the place is called, in India, which is making British JCB diggers in Gujarat for JCB. So we have discovered one of Jacob Rees-Mogg's Brexit benefits, but it's a Brexit benefit for India, Nick, would you believe?
Right. Well, they didn't specify which country had to benefit from Brexit, so it was India.
It's a JCB factory in India.
Yeah.
And not only that, there were protests at the site from, I think it's Hindus, because the JCB diggers are being used to flatten areas of, I think it may be Delhi. So they're clearing land upon which I think it's Hindus are living using JCB diggers.
Yeah, it's
So
almost as though Boris Johnson is not good at being an international statesman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost
Well, I
as
think-
though he needs an advisor or seven.
Yeah, so a good old Moggs, what do you call him, smug, Brexit benefits, they're plenty and abound everywhere.
Another Brexit benefit. How marvellous. We've found one for India. All right, thanks a lot, Malcolm. 0345 6060 973. A lot of Brexit news this week, by the way. And absolutely none of it good. All of it very bad. Which must be a mistake. Maybe it's a misprint. Chris says, why did Boris have to handle the trade deal with India when Liz Truss handled the other amazing trade deals with everywhere else? Oh, he had the House of Commons embarrassing moments to face. Keir Starmer handled it well, says Chris. But he just runs away. It's what he does all the time. I mean, he's famous for it. You remember when he said he was going to die in a ditch before letting another runway at Heathrow? And when they had a vote on the runway at Heathrow, he left the country. He ran away. It's his speciality. You'd think he'd be slimmer with all the running away he does. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we are doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
It is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while laughing like drains. If you want us to have a bash at your issue, simply send it to the following address, nickandcarol@global.com, NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can find it on an internet near you, on the best and the safest internet near you, as provided by Nadine Dorris. Ask for it by name. It's What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol.
Yeah.
You can get it on Global Player. Have you got Global Player? Oh, you really should. You can stick it up your phone, and it will give you all of the radio stations that we do, plus a boatload of podcasts, in amongst which you'll find the 3 that I do. If you just do an internet search on my name, Nick Abbott Podcasts, then they will all appear as though by magic. Julia says, what do you think of the French elections? We could have another Trump-style president with Marine Le Pen get in as president in France. Some people are going to abstain to vote because they don't want to vote for Le Pen or Macron. Oh, come on, French people. Pick one. Pick the least bad. And if you have to spend more than a second thinking which is the least bad, then I think I'm going to send you a mirror in the post with which you can take a good long look at yourself. Sheila texts, did you say the Privilege Committee could braid Boris Johnson? So he's going to have a new hairstyle? How will this help the country? How will this help the country, says Sheila. Not braid, upbraid. But Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'd like to... Hands up who wants to see Boris Johnson with braids. Keep them up while I count. Everyone! I want to see Michael Fabricant with braids, with cornrows. Who wants to see that? I would love to see that. I'd like to see it wet. Where does it go at night? David says, I always appreciate what Biffo says. I should really be focusing on. I always appreciate what Biffo says I should be really focusing on, especially when it comes to his lack of integrity. Regarding the Rwanda refugee policy, like all recent announcements, it's not going to happen. It's just inviting attacks from critics, let's call them Remainers, so he can claim to be delivering that on the priorities of the people. Yeah, I wouldn't be remotely surprised, actually. It's one of those things that they throw out there and say, finally, we're going to make a difference. We are giving the public what they want. And then evil activist lawyers and enemies of the people judges, they will stymie their attempts to act on the public's wishes. If only it wasn't for the law, the government would be able to do anything it blooming well likes to the delight of the people. But sadly, there is that whole law thing, which of course they have complete control over. If they don't like any of the laws, they just change them. I mean, you've got an 80-seat majority for crying out loud. What are you waiting for? Dan says, I'm confused. Please enlighten me. Tony Blair knowingly misled the House over weapons of mass destruction, which ultimately brought about our involvement in the Second Iraq War, costing thousands of lives in Iraq. Did he knowingly mislead the House? Or was the evidence actually at the time that he did have weapons of mass destruction? It's just that we subsequently found that he didn't. Anyway, he goes, yet Boris Johnson told a porky about some meetings, resulting in a few people in Westminster having cake, probably using a swing and loitering in a garden. The bit I don't get is this. Everyone's up in arms about the erosion of trust in politicians. Get real, all politicians are untrustworthy and always have been. It's a pre-required trait, as you were.